All right, guys, let's see if we can change our minds tonight. What's up next on the load, man?
Alrighty, guys. So big news out of Israel, especially in light of everything that was happening with Hamas, the Palestinian people, the airstrikes, and kind of the conflict, as some people would rather call it. Netanyahu's looking like he's probably done after a 12-year run as prime minister in Israel, because a pretty interesting coalition has come together to try and oust him. There's not a lot in common in terms of their views. You have a far-right group that ultimately kind of came with them, and it's a wide range of 8 different groups. And about the only thing they agree on is that they want Netanyahu out. So they tried to force, I wouldn't say force, but they tried to kind of implement a early parliamentary vote. And again, I don't really know how their system works, but they tried to implement an early vote to kind of keep Netanyahu from having a window to adjust things or kind of, get ahead of this. But long story short, it's looking like Netanyahu's done because of a far-right movement and a moderate movement is going to have Bennett. His last name is Bennett. He looks like he might be taking the head of things, and people are not happy. The hardliners are not happy right now in Israel. They're not happy at all.
Here's my thing. I got a question: is their right movement the same as our right-wing movement? Because it's not the same across the board. So is this better or worse? Is this guy more fundamentalist when it comes to the Israeli state and the Palestinian statehood? You know what I mean?
The person who would, if this comes to fruition, this new coalition, if Bennett comes to the head, he is more of a moderate, actually. I believe he's signaling that we need to actually look to improve the Palestinians' lives. This makes more sense, not to continue the antagonism, I believe. And
the coalition is the first coalition to include Arabs, the United Arabs group.
An Arab faction.
Yeah, and so they're including the Arab.
There's 8 different groups in there, man, including the hard right group, which had about 6 members. And I believe like we're talking hard right for them, so which has 6 members that came over. But there's just, I believe part of the agreement is that group, they might have like a leadership stake at some point. So I don't know how that's going to work, how this is all going to.
It said it's a rotation. I remember that, reading that in the article. They're going to rotate. They're going to share the prime minister in a rotation. So it said under the agreement, Lapid and Bennett will split the job of prime minister in a rotation. Bennett, the former ally of Netanyahu, is to serve the first 2 years. Then Lapid will serve, or Lapid, I'm not sure, will serve the final 2 years. And though it is far from certain this fragile coalition will last long, so a little skeptical in this article, it looks like. But that's where it says the historic deal includes a small Islamist party, the United Arab List, which would make it the first Arab party ever to be part of the governing coalition. So that's the interesting tweak to me. They want to be a part of it, but no real power. I don't know how that will play out, but I hope they at least have the seat at the table to say, hey, stop fucking murdering our people on the streets and schools and apartment buildings, and, bring some semblance of peace, if you will. I from this sounds of it, that sounds much better than what we got right now.
Well, Netanyahu, man, I mean, part of why I think the instability here is because of all the corruption issues he's had in the last few years. Yeah. So, for example, some of his efforts to build his own coalition in the past week or so to kind of, defeat this threat to his leadership was offers to step down for a certain window, right, to allow someone else to assume leadership, right, and then he would reassume it, I'm assuming, after he handles some of the corruption issues and things like that, because this is a big distraction, big issue.
He's under investigation right now, right?
Yeah, big investigation.
A big one.
Yeah.
So the writing was on the wall for him anyway. So
I was just going to say, for the record, the Bennett guy refers to himself as to the right.
Mm-hmm. He used to be so he is the hardliner, but he used to be considered Netanyahu's protege. But right now he's signaling like rhetoric that would be more moderate. So he's the hardliner. But that's why the hardliners are saying they've been betrayed by him. They feel like they've been there's a lot at play. Yeah.
Yeah, I also find it incredibly amazing that 8 political parties could come together, considering in America 2 political parties can't come together.
But that speaks to how much Netanyahu needs to go, probably.
Yes. We can't get one party to agree with themselves, low enough 2 parties. That's why they had a Tea Party. That's why you have the Justice Democrats. That's why you have all these coalitions.
That's what real democracies look like, is actual coalition building, actually having to really, fucking hammer out all this shit we value, don't value, and figure out what we have. it's like this. America's never been a democracy, bro. Man.
I know, man. I want to see multiple parties. I want to see at least 4. I want to see ranked choice voting and term limits in Congress, of course.
Yeah, now careful there, Boyce, because like we are the term limits. We can vote out whoever we want at any time.
Absolutely. I know that's Matt's big pushback. I knew Matt was going to come at me with that one. That's cool. But people are lazy and ignorant. They want us to keep us that way. We need more informed people. We could technically, our Constitution was set up to have a revolution every 4 years, and then checks and balances every 2 after that. So even if you're fucked up, you only got a real good 2-year run in you before they have a chance. The people have a chance to say, you know, whoa, this person lied. They're not doing their job right. We don't like what they're doing. The midterms come, and you can kind of check that sucker a little bit, you know. So if we have 3 branches of government, why can't we have 3 parties in government? I mean, come on now. Just come on.
I don't follow that one.
So we have the 3 branches of government, checks and balances. So Supreme Court holds Congress in check.
No,
and then Congress.
I get that part, but like why does it follow? I guess I don't see like the whole follow to
the 3 parties.
Yeah, I don't get how those 2 are related. Like how are checks and balances related to I guess movement. So how like checks and balances are like a principle contained within the framework of a society, whereas like political movements are like responses to shit that are happening within that society, I guess. So I just don't see like the link. Like,
well, I just mean like the 3 branches are there for a reason. It's not a 4th one. There's 3 because it's always going to be out. Like 2 of those 3 can always be wrong, and that 1 can still hold them in check.
Yeah. So he's talking about like that it's an odd number. He's just referring to the fact that like it's problematic that that we're at a standstill because it's 2. So if there's like 2 that agree on something, it'll happen versus
so if we had a third party, a true centrist party, if you will, that would converge and say
we already have that in theory, though. That's what independents
are. In theory, but a truly represented numbers wise, a third party, if you will, that could say you can't win an election without us, like in the Senate.
We already have 4 political parties, actually.
We have like a dozen of them, but none of them are.
We have 4 political parties. We have the apathetic, we have the fucking dumb Democrats, the dumb Republicans, and the independents.
I think MAGA is a whole party now. It's its own too, just wackadoodled.
Speaking of MAGA, let's discuss Donald Trump's blog. And because, I mean, this all is related, right? Netanyahu is allowed to do what he's allowed to do. Israel's allowed to do what they're allowed to do because of Donald Trump's protection and his rhetoric and his maneuvering as related to Jerusalem, as related to the Abraham Accords, as related to what we did in the UN in terms of certain UN resolutions against settlements, things like that. And we were able to veto and block. I don't know when we negotiated the latest military aid agreement with Israel, but it's the 3rd time we've done it. It's $3.8 billion a year. Most of that's military aid. That doesn't include the loans that they get from us. And that shit under Trump. So
yeah, it gets increased almost every time they get a chance. They can increase it. They will.
So before you wrap up, Boyce, I just want to add, because Matt was like, we have more than 2 parties, but we don't have a significant number of elected people from more than just 2 parties. And that's our problem.
All right, guys, let us know what you think about that, about Israel, Palestine, the coalition, Netanyahu. Is this good? Is this bad? Are you freaked out that we don't know what's going on? Because it's such up in the air. Like, this could change everything. So all these positions people have could be for nothing. So it could all have to change again. They have to go through a whole cycle of asking people, how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? How will you vote? How will they send money? Will you still send money to this group? Will you still sell them weapons to murder people and commit genocide? You know, like, which is what we're doing. Let us know what you think about that in the comment section. While you're here, of course, give the video a like, hit subscribe, ring notifications, upcoming videos, and go read a fucking book.